respected elders, revered teachers, passionate yoga students, my friends and my colleagues. A very warm welcome for this session. I am deeply honored and privileged to be part of this wonderful gathering today on this auspicious day. I'm not a native speaker of Hindi, but I will try to bring in some Hindi, my Hindi words in between. आप सबको मेरी युवा दिवस की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं. Hearty wishes to all of you on this Youth Day. I would like to say a few words about Thani School of Yoga. I have been associated with this wonderful organization for close to 6 months now. I am very, very grateful to Vijay sir for getting me into this journey of yoga and introducing me to the wonderful scriptures, from our ancient yoga. It is, I'm really enjoying this knowledge learning. And, this is a great place to be, if you want to learn more about yoga. Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful opportunity that you have given me to share my thoughts. It is just my humble presentation of my thoughts about this topic. I am by no means an expert in this topic. I'm sure there are wonderful, experts in this session. So please feel free to share your knowledge through the chat. I would like to learn from you as well. Thank you so much, sir, for bringing up the presentation. A little, small introduction about myself. I am based out of North Carolina, USA. I have been very passionate about yoga for many years, but I did not get a good guru under whom I can train. But, with God's grace, I have been introduced to Thani School of Yoga and Vijay sir. So I'm very thankful for that. I live here with my husband and my 13-year-old son. Let's get into the presentation. Development of spiritual awareness through Ashtanga Yoga. That is my topic. So before we really get into the topic, I want to talk a little bit about there are two things that we need to understand in this title: spirituality and awareness. So I would request all of you, what is your idea about spirituality? If you can put it in the chat, or you can unmute and answer, whatever is comfortable for you. What is your understanding of spirituality and what is your understanding of awareness? How would you describe that? If you all can take like 30 seconds to put in your thoughts.
You can interact with Aruna ji. If anybody want to talk, please.
Yeah, what does spirituality mean to you? Is it going to religious places like, temples or Gurudwara, mosque, church? Is it doing, rituals and religious things? What does spirituality mean to you?
Like a deep feeling of sense. You can say that way.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Monali. Okay. I'm sure all of you have, great, thoughts about that. Yeah, Sonal says spirituality according to me is doing things in a way which gives me peace. Thank you. That's an excellent, there is no wrong or right answer, by the way. It's all, it's all what you feel about
spirituality is the process of rising the spirit.
Rising the spirit. Thank you, Bikashji. By the way, wonderful presentation. Thank you for such an insightful presentation on Swami Vivekananda. Okay.
Nice.
Let us get into the awareness part. What is awareness? So we use this word awareness in different contexts, right? We say being aware of your health, being aware of the environment, environmental awareness, cancer awareness. So we use this word in different contexts, right? So awareness is, if you see the dictionary meaning, awareness means the knowledge or the perception of a fact. That is what is called awareness. Now, in our context, what does self-awareness mean? What does that mean? So it is a critical life skill. First and foremost thing is, it is a critical life skill for growth of self-development and personal growth. And what it really means is that our intentions, like what you want to do and what you actually do, aligning with that is called self-awareness. And there are a number of factors that comes into picture. See, for example, you might be thinking, okay, I want to be compassionate, I want to be kind, but then your actions may not really, really be exhibiting that quality, right? So it is very important for us to look within, because what we act is controlled by our thoughts. Our thoughts drive our actions, our emotions, the values that are close to your heart. All that has an impact on how you are behaving, how you are acting. So self-awareness is bringing an alignment of these intention. Intention is irada, what you want to do, and action is the actual karma you're doing. How we can make that into one line. That is what is self-awareness. And self-awareness is also, if you really break it down, what that also means is that how can you really watch your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors in every moment? Understand what is triggering you. Like, for example, if something is making you angry, what is that is making you angry? Looking into yourself and understanding your own thoughts and feelings that is coming out as behaviors. That is what is self-awareness. They talk about two main types, internal and external. Internal is, understanding yourself. External is how others are seeing you, how others are perceiving you. And what is the benefit of being self-aware? It is very critical to spiritual enlightenment, which is what we're going to see in this presentation. And research shows that, the more we are self-aware, the more we are able to understand, we are able to control our emotions, and it is able to help us grow more intellectually. And it helps us, manage, all the emotions. Sir, next slide. What are the barriers? What are the things that are blocking us from being self-aware? One is, as we have learned in, the Panchavrittis, right? One of them is, the incorrect thinking or distorted thinking. That is actually one of the major causes of not being able to see ourselves of what we are. And second important thing is ego. For example, when we have made a mistake, we want to protect our self-image, and ego really, comes on top. And third thing is social conditioning. We are all conditioned to behave in a certain way, to act in a certain way, to say things in a certain way. So all this can all be a barrier to know what we truly are. And how do we overcome? We can overcome by, continuous practice. It's an ongoing practice. And the Ashtanga Yoga is definitely, a method for us to know ourselves better. It is, you have to be patient, you have to be empathetic, you have to be compassionate with yourself and honest with yourself. So it is more of going inward than outward. And it's a lifelong commitment that we have to tell ourselves to reach our ultimate goal of, self-realization. And that is going to give us the true inner freedom that we all need to uplift ourselves. As Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagena cha grihyate. So it is the abhyasa and vairagya, that is the continuous practice and detachment that is required for us to really overcome this various challenges in our life, and to become more self-aware. Now let us get into the next slide, please. Let us get into spirituality. all of you gave, wonderful, wonderful responses on what spirituality means to you. This is just my understanding of spirituality, or this is how I see spirituality as. Spirituality for me is focusing on the divinity within, connecting to that universal consciousness. So there is, each one of us is a spark of divinity. There is Chaitanya in every one of us. Identifying with that and turning ourselves inward and to reach that Sat Chit Ananda state, the ultimate self-realization state, is what is the journey of spirituality. This again is a quote from Bhagavad Gita, where Shri Krishna talks about the knowledge is the king of all sciences and most profound of all secrets. It purifies those who hear it. It is directly realizable in accordance with dharma, easy to practice, and everlasting in effect. So knowledge is power. Okay. Now that we know what is spirituality, what is awareness, now what is spiritual awareness? Let us bring both of these together and understand this term. So to become spiritual is to awaken the natural spirit, as Bikash ji said, right? That spirit that is there within us, the Chaitanya that is there within us, to awaken that. And for that, it is important for us to be aware of that spirit, of that divinity within us. And that becomes the spiritual awareness. And it can also be described as increasing that universal consciousness awareness. So that divinity that is there in every living being, whether it is man, animal, trees, birds, whatever it is, there is the Chaitanya in everything. So being aware and our journey towards that is what I would call it as spiritual awareness. So now let us get into how Ashtanga Yoga is helping us to become more spiritually aware, to develop our spiritual awareness. I'm sure all of you, are aware of the Ashtanga Yoga. A small overview of what Ashtanga Yoga is. So Ashtanga Yoga of Maharshi Patanjali is the classical work so far in yoga philosophy. There have been many other scriptures that came, much later, but the Ashtanga Yoga by Maharshi Patanjali is, of course, the most, classical work in the field of yoga. Yoga Sutras that are provided in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it gives a deep understanding of I would even say, the philosophy of yoga. It's not just the practice of yoga, but the philosophy of yoga is very much embedded in these sutras. All the sutras, each sutra you take, if you read some commentary, it is running to pages. So there is so much of wealth of knowledge about life itself in Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And, it is strongly backed by science as well. What I really, so far, whatever I have learned in the last 6 months about Patanjali Yoga Sutra or the Ashtanga Yoga as a whole is, I see it as a systematic approach to reach the, final state of samadhi. Right from, right from the first limb of Yama, Niyama, we'll go through that. Those are all the systematic steps to reach there. So very, very scientifically thought about on how a human being can reach that final state. Very, very nicely laid out kind of a manual for us on how we can reach that state. And, the way Maharshi Patanjali has defined yoga itself, he did not say it is a physical practice. He did not, define yoga in any other way. The second verse, as soon as he starts, he describes yoga as yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. He immediately connects to the chitta, and that is where yoga begins and ends, right? So very beautifully, he has defined yoga as yoga chitta vritti nirodha. The restraining of the vrittis of the chitta is yoga. Sir, next slide. A deeper look into what Ashtanga Yoga is, right? So, I'm just putting my thoughts together on this. For me, yoga is a purification and it's a transformative process. At every step, there is this inner transformation that is happening. Whether you're doing asanas, whether you're doing pranayama or mudra, all you're doing is you're going inward. You are not looking at how your classmates are doing or what others are seeing. Every practice that you do in yoga, you have been asked to look into yourself. It is completely inward looking, and that has, I'm sure all of you are able to relate to it. It brings in the transformation within you. If you have been doing yoga for a while, it is bringing the your outlook of how you're looking at things change. The way you are the way you are responding, the way you are dealing with situations change, because it is bringing the transformation within you. It is a holistic approach for physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. It focuses on the mind-body connection. And the best example is pranayama, right? Chale vati, chale chittam. The way your breath is, that is how your mind is. So there is a deep link between your mind and your and your body. And that is what Maharshi Patanjali is talking about. And when we do all of these practices, it is helping us develop that mindfulness and concentration, right? Anything that you do in yoga, it is all about yourself. So you are being aware at that particular moment what you're doing. For example, when you're doing an asana, you are looking at, okay, which of my muscles am I stretching? Where is the contraction happening? Where is the, where am I feeling the pain? Where am I, feeling the, feeling the, good part, where am I really enjoying that particular state of yoga? So it is all about mindfulness, being in that moment, being self-aware, and it helps you cultivate that more and more as you get into yoga. It's a powerful system for self-discovery and self-improvement. I think, all of us, can relate to that. And all the bonuses that we get as part of yoga is physical vitality, mental stability, and spiritual growth. So, that is what my understanding of Ashtanga Yoga is. Now, taking a deeper look into the various limbs of yoga, the Angas of the 8 limbs of yoga. The first limb is Yama. It starts with moral imperatives, purity in thought, word, and deed. It is not starting with asana. It is not starting with pranayama, but it is starting with something very, very fundamental, which is adhering to the moral values. Right? It talks about truth. It talks about non-violence, brahmacharya, asteya, aparigraha. These are the things that we start with. And once we have gotten into that mode of, being moral imperative, being morally good, then the next thing comes about physical discipline, your personal rules, how you can bring that into practice in your individual life. Right? Cleanliness, santosha, tapas, swadhyaya, and Ishvara pranidhana. So that is how the Kriya Yoga defines these things. And then we get into asana, right? Only after you do the yama and niyama, the third step is asana, wherein it is not just a physical workout, as Vijay sir always says in our class, right? When somebody goes to gym, they're hearing Bollywood music and they're mindlessly doing their activity, right? Whereas asana is completely the opposite of that. It is about aligning the energies that is present in our subtle body to help us realize that spirituality within us. It is all about that. The physical vitality and the flexibility, all that is a side effect. But what is actually we are focusing on is aligning the energies, aligning the 7 chakras that the vital points in within our body, we are aligning that. That is what asanas is about. And he talks about sthiram. Maharshi Patanjali says sthiram sukham asanam. And what is he does not say, okay, you will become, you can live for 100 years, you will develop your muscles. He doesn't say anything like that. What is the effect of doing asana? Tato dvandvana abhigataha. You will lose a sense of dualities. That means it's the highest philosophy in, in Shaddarshanas. If you see, it's the highest philosophy. He's talking about Advaitam here, right? He's talking about Advaitam. So the effect of asana is you lose that dualities. Can we imagine, asana can actually do that? I mean, think about the thought process that has gone behind this and how much of deep understanding Maharshi Patanjali had when he wrote these verses. I think we are all so blessed to be, exposed to these kind of scriptures, to help us advance in our spiritual life. That is what, I'm so grateful that, I'm being exposed to these things. Yeah, and even in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna talks about how you have to do asana. The procedure for doing the asana. On top of you have to sit on in a sanctified place, put the kusha grass, then the deer skin and the cloth, and then on top of that you have to sit, because ultimately it's going to. You never know at what point the Kundalini Shakti is going to get awakened. So he already is giving us all the procedures to follow when we are doing asana. So this was like, I don't even know, how many years back, Sri Krishna told us. Now next, moving to pranayama. Pranayama is, prana, the vital force. It's not just the breath, but the vital force that makes you alive, that makes you makes you different from somebody who's dead, right? It is the vital force that, that is making us live and breathe and go about our daily activities. So pranayama is, bringing that prana shakti or the life energies, and how it is, how to control that, which in turn will help us control the mind. And how beautifully he has explained that, the effect of pranayama is tatakshiyate prakasha avaranam. The veil that is there on, that is blocking the light is now removed. That is the effect of pranayama. Moving on to the fifth limb, sir, how are we doing with the time? Okay, I'll wrap it up, another 5-6 minutes. The next anga is pratyahara. Sir, previous slide. Pratyahara. So now we have come to a stage where, we are in a state to receive that knowledge. We are in a state to receive that light, right? Once you reach the pranayama stage. Now the next stage is withdrawing our senses. Now by now, we are already prepared for that, right? The yama, niyama, asana, pratyahara. Now we have come to that stage where we can control our senses. So pratyahara is withdrawing our senses from all the external objects towards inward. And this is the starting of the inner yoga, the abhyantara yoga. From here it starts. Now, once you start withdrawing the senses, now we are in a state where we can start focusing, we can start concentrating. And there comes dharana, where we are able to start focusing on a singular object. And when we are able to do this, focus on a singular object for a longer period of time, without getting distracted, but completely being aware in that particular state, we enter the state of dhyana, right? These are all, now we are all well prepared to enter the last state, the samadhi state, where there is no object, there is no difference between the object and the seer. It's all become one, and we are we are able to feel that union with that universal consciousness. I'm sure I didn't say anything, anything that you didn't already know, but it's a good time for us to process all these different steps of Ashtanga Yoga, how it is helping us to develop ourselves to reach that higher stage, and keep working on ourselves. As Sri Krishna has said, we have to keep working on ourselves. It's a continuous process throughout our life. Sir, next slide. Yeah, so now that we have gone through the 8 steps, Ashtanga Yoga, it leads to self-realization. It helps us to reach the highest state of consciousness, self-realization. It improves the concentration through the focused practice of asanas and pranayama. It helps us to develop that concentration for longer periods of time, and mental resilience. So resilience, to give an example of what resilience is, when you stretch a rubber band, it is able to stretch, right? But when you leave it, it comes back. Same thing, we are faced with different challenges in life where we are pushed to do certain things, right? Where we are pushed to take tough decisions, where we are pushed to deal with difficult situations, difficult people, and crisis situations. How are we able to manage those and still maintain our mental peace? How are we able to bounce back? That is what is mental resilience. And Ashtanga Yoga definitely is helping us to get there. And it is definitely a wonderful tool for us to continue our journey in this path. With that, I will conclude my presentation with this with this wonderful quote, which says it is important to remember that yoga is a personal voyage of self-discovery, and each step you take brings you closer to the state of improved well-being and harmony. Thank you once again, everyone, for giving me this opportunity to, talk to you all. Thank you, Vijay sir, for all your, selfless guidance and imparting, the wonderful knowledge of yoga to, to all of us. I'm very grateful for that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Arunaji. Very nice.
Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please ask. And the one point I will